Having a job is not much different than having a relationship. You gotta go through a lot of bad ones before you finally land a good one. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, thank you for joining. My name is Amelia Lecter and I make videos on mental health. I would love if you subscribe to my channel, hit that like button, leave me a comment, and join the community. So anyways, today's topic is going to be on how to maintain a job with mental illness. So, really, having a job is not much different than having a relationship. You gotta go through a lot of bad ones before you finally land a good one. Like, I know that kind of sounds silly, but really when it comes down to it, the two relate. Jobs and relationships kind of relate to each other. So number one is going to be flexibility. So you've got to find a job that gives you flexibility. They got to be able to work with you on your schedule, how many days a week you can work, how many days is too much, make sure there's a clear expectation on if there will be overtime or not. If you cannot do overtime, if that would trigger your symptoms from having additional stress, then you gotta be upfront with that in the interview. But yeah, so one example is I cannot do a typical 5-day work week. If I work 5 days in a row, on that 5th day, I am just about to have a breakdown. I'm getting breakthrough symptoms, I'm irritable, I'm stressed, I lose my mind basically. So a typical 5-day work week is not doable for me. So I have found a job where I can always get a break in between. So maybe I work 3 days or 4 days in a row, and then I have a day off, and then I work another 2 days, or so forth. Like, where I don't have to work your typical Monday through Friday job a week, 8 hours a day. That's the other thing. My shifts are 7 hours, technically 6.5 hours on Sundays if I work. So that is helpful. A lot of jobs are like 9 hours, and then that 1 hour you have for a lunch break, or you may just not even get scheduled a lunch break and just have 8 hours straight. But anyways, like the 8 to 5 hours, that's too much. I can't do that. I found that kind of schedule just drains me, it triggers me. I can't do that. So I found something where I have a different kind of schedule. Me personally, I have learned within myself that I cannot work second shift. If I work like 4 p.m. to 10 p.m., I'm a wreck, because when I wake up at like 9 or 10 or whatever, I have so much anxiety about going to work, and I'm just psyching myself out the whole day up until I go to work. And then I go to work, and then I'm a wreck. So for me, what works is getting work done early in the morning. So my shifts are from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m., which is awesome. Like, yeah, I know it sounds pretty early, but honestly, I think I have gotten used to it finally. But just being able to, before my brain like turns on, before my anxiety turns on, before depression can turn on, before anything can turn on, I'm like up and ready to go. So, and I'm already at work. So like I don't have any time to kind of like ruminate on bad thoughts or anything. Like, you know what I mean? So just getting up and going really, really works for me. Also, another big thing is you got to be able to take breaks during your job. For me, if I had a job where, say I was like on my feet, like I work in the service industry, but I'm not a server, like a waiter or a waitress. But if I had a job like that and I wasn't really like allowed breaks on, say, like a Friday or Saturday night, I just had to like wait table after table after table, and it didn't stop, it just kept going, that would be too much. Like my current job, if I need to take 5 or 10 minutes, I can just say, hey, I need to take 5 or 10 minutes. Also, my store that I work at, we have like certain hours that we're busier. So I try and time my breaks when my like single coworker can like cover it. And that way I'm not like needed at the time. Like he's got it while I take a 5 or 10 minute break if needed. And honestly, that's just good for your mental health in general. Like he does the same thing with me. Sometimes he just needs a break. And I'm like, all right, we don't have a lot of customers right now. Go outside and take a 10-minute break. I got this. Like, that really helps. Another big thing is leaving early or coming in late. So it's definitely happened to me before where I've been in situations where I'm having an episode, whether it's a mixed episode or an anxiety attack, and I can't function anymore. So I go home early. Luckily for me, the earliest I've had to leave was an hour early. So that was like, I mean, I was freaking out long before then, but once it was like an hour before it was time for me to go home, I was like, okay, I kind of need to go right now. So, and that was okay. Like, there were 2 other people there serving customers, so it was okay for me to leave. So that's important. And I know a lot of us struggle with like getting out of bed in the morning because of depression and just like lack of motivation. So having the flexibility to arrive later. So I know it seems like a lot of office jobs, definitely not all of them, there are strict ones, but there's many office jobs where they're just like, you know, come in between 8:30 and 9. Like, as long as you're here before 9, that's fine. Not like you have to be here at 8:30 on the dot or else you're getting written up. So, flexibility in when you can arrive. So, if you are feeling shitty one morning, you can just come in a half hour later, take a little bit longer in the morning. So, that is something else to look for. And yeah, that basically just covers flexibility. So, the second thing is no micromanager, no strict expectations, and just feeling comfortable in the job. So, if you have a manager who's constantly on your shoulder and down your throat about getting shit done exactly how they want it and just micromanaging you, like, to the point of triggering your symptoms and giving you a nervous breakdown, then that's not going to work, obviously. You need to find a boss who's either, 1, like, not there every day, or 2, kind of, like, is a little bit more hands-off. Like, my boss is kind of, I mean, he is anal about things, but I've learned how to, like, avoid him. So, I mean, I'm not going to get into that because that's just my personal experience, but yeah, you just have to like learn ways to cope with micromanagers, and just, if there's no way for you to avoid them, then you just can't work for them. Like, having a manager just like have you on like constant eggshells, that is not good. I mean, that's just for everyone's mental health. This isn't just limited to someone with mental illness. Just for good mental health for anyone, you can't work like that. Another thing is you just have to feel comfortable in your job duties. So, I mean, me working in like the service industry, I make food and I make drinks for customers. I'm a barista, just throwing that out there. We're also like a cafe, so we serve food. But basically, so that's what I do. And it's like stuff that I'm comfortable doing. Like in previous jobs, if I was doing like complicated like office work or problem solving or like very detail oriented things, I wasn't comfortable with that. It gave me stress. Like if I had worked in like call centers where the phone was ringing like every 2 minutes, and I would never know what the caller, like what the problem was going to be on the other end of the phone. So I always had that anxiety and anticipation of what was I going to deal with, and like I'm on the phone, I have to resolve the problem like on the spot, even if I don't know what to do. Like, see where I'm going with that? You know, like that just doesn't work for me. Some people it may work for, and that's awesome, but for someone with a mental illness like myself, though, that kind of environment is just toxic, and I can't be in an environment like that. So yeah, just being comfortable in your job duties, not having a micromanager, and not having like strict expectations. Like, I don't know, just for example, like if I make a drink and it's not, you know, like the milk isn't steamed to like 140 degrees, it's steamed to like 145 degrees, like I need that to be acceptable. I don't need to work at a coffee shop that is so anal that if your coffee, your steamed milk is not an exact 140 degrees, you have to remake it. So like a lot of like, you know, those like upscale like pour over coffee shops and stuff, they're very anal like that. And I mean, that's great because you get a good cup of coffee, but it's more stress on the employees, the baristas who work there. So that's something that I know that I should avoid. And finally, the third thing is make sure your boss, if you need these like accommodations that I've mentioned, make sure at least one trusted coworker or your boss knows. So like I had mentioned about leaving early, I actually have the luxury of not having to tell my boss when I left early. I just told the people I was working with in the store, and they were like, cool, we got this. So not having to go to your boss for like everything is really nice, because then you can just have like a trusted coworker who you can share your reasons for needing accommodation with, and that's just, in my opinion, it's so much more comfortable. But if you do have a job, like many jobs, for like, you gotta go to the boss for everything, like if you're gonna be late, you go to the boss, if you gotta leave early, you go to the boss, if you need an extended lunch break, you go to the boss, which a lot of people have, then honestly, you're gonna have to tell them up front. You don't have to disclose your diagnosis necessarily. You can definitely downplay it, just be like, I get stressed easily, I get anxious easily. That's really all you have to say. You don't have to say, I have schizoaffective disorder, bipolar type, and social anxiety, and I have hallucinations, blah blah blah. Like, no, they don't need to know all that. Just tell them that you get stressed easily and that you have anxiety, and sometimes you just need these accommodations. Like, that's really all there is to it. And if they don't like it, if they can't accommodate, then you gotta dump that job and go get a new one. Just like you would dump that bad boyfriend or girlfriend and go get a new one. So yeah, that's basically it, you guys. So I'm very lucky that I have found a job that meets all of these needs, and I suggest for you, if you have a job now or jobs in the past where one of these things that I have mentioned is just not, they can't accommodate you, and it's causing you like really difficult time in your job, or to the point of where you have to quit your job, then you just have to keep trying. You guys, I went through like 11 jobs. That's not a joke. I went through 11 fucking jobs before I found this current one that I wasn't a total wreck in at all times. So you can do it. It might take forever, but you can do it. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope this helped you, and just let me know if you have any questions or want like further advice in the comments, or you can reach out to me on social media or email, whatever. So alright, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.